Hi guys and girls, Nesbit Place. I'm Nesbit, of course, if you don't already know. And I'm taking a little stroll very close to where I live. And it's a nice little walk. Oh, there we go, we're going up here. We always miss the turning. So funny. Today, I thought I'd talk some more KDC. And we're going to talk about Godwin, because how can we not? I've talked pretty much so far on the characters that are closest to me, but Godwin is a very close runner in the race of my favourite characters in KDC. You know, he's maybe 4th or 5th on the list, but the point is, he's such a unique character, and we really have to go back a step to the first game to really appreciate Godwin. And I want to talk about Godwin because he deserves a talk, you know. Godwin's a fantastic character. And about quarter of the way through of KDC, the first game, Henry meets Godwin and ends up doing a quest with Godwin. And this starts sowing the seeds of a very interesting relationship between him and Henry. Godwin's not your average run-of-the-mill holy man. Preacher, you know. He fornicates, he drinks like a fish, he swears, he tells crass jokes, he laughs, and he embodies everything that the faith actually goes against, you know. He's a warrior. You know, he's actually a noble as well. He's well educated, and you don't really learn too much about Godwin's past in the first KDC. When we move on to the second, we start to learn a lot more about him, and his story starts to unfold in front of us. But in terms of the first KDC, Henry meets him and goes on a quest, and he helps Godwin. He parties with Godwin, right? And then Godwin gets him to run the sermon the next morning because he's too fucking pissed and hungover to do it himself. And just the whole story. I mean, the night before, they start drinking, talking, gambling, whatever, flirting, you know. Henry flirts with the local barmaid, and Godwin's got his own woman next to him. I think she's part of the vicarage or whatever, or, you know, the church that he's in charge of. I can't quite remember her row actually, but it doesn't really matter. The point, oh wow, man, literally, I just had a woodpecker at my feet and he's just sort of flown away. It was actually a female of the red-spotted woodpecker, literally just flown right across me. I wish I'd had the camera turned around so you could see it. Sorry, that's thrown me off track. There's so much wildlife around these grounds, guys and girls. You get deer, fox, you know, everything, badger. There's all sorts, you know. We get deer in our garden. It's thrown me off track, but that was lovely. Wow, just, you know, just right in front of me, and he cut right across me as I was talking. What was I saying? Oh, and anyway, so Henry and Father Godwin sort of live at large the night before, and and the best bit, I'm sorry, when I first saw this in the game, I couldn't believe what I was fucking seeing. So Henry gets drunk, Father Godwin and him goes up to the bell tower, and I can't remember the name of the town we're in actually either, for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. The essence of the story is this, you know, after drinking and gambling, talking, laughing, eating to excess, you know, everything the church sort of forbids, him and Henry go up to the tower and get laid. And it's quite visual in the cut scene that's played out. And when I was streaming this at the time, I thought, oh fuck, I was, you know, as my channel get a strike here, but it was really such a good scene. It was so funny. Anyway, the night passes, Henry wakes up with Godwin, and no, hold on, no, sorry, I beg your pardon, they don't, do they wake up? Yes, they do, I think they do. They wake up after having a good, you know, they get laid and everything, and they go for a walk or whatever, they fall across the hill, and the morning breaks, and they're stood on the hill, and Henry stood next to Godwin like this. He's swaying around, And he looks over at Godwin. It's the way he looks at Godwin, just as simplest of things. And Godwin goes, and throws up everywhere. And Henry sort of smiles and chuckles to himself as he looks across the scenery of the morning as it breaks. And you know, if you haven't ever played it, just wait till you do. It's a great scene, and it sets the tone for everything that's to come between him and Godwin. And that was the first KDC. Great storytelling, you know, unusual, brave storytelling, and a little bit unexpected, which was so nice. Just remember, it just makes me smile so much. You know, it's a great bit of storytelling. Anyway, I mean, they get back to the bell tower, back to the church, and Godwin pleads with Henry and says, look, I need you to take the sermon for me. And this is a very crucial point as well, because without a doubt, the choices you make as you give the sermon, because you have to protect Godwin's, you know, position. That's what you're trying to do. And Henry uses Peter of whatever, I think of Luxembourg or whatever, a priest, and some of the things he heard earlier that evening from Godwin in his sermon about piety and all the rest of it. And it's just so funny because, of course, again, you've got Godwin dressed in his rags with his underwear with you know, with Henry giving a fucking sermon on piety and proper behaviour. And these people will start off, you can tell they're really against Henry and Godwin, looking at him with disgust. And Henry slowly brings them around if you make the right choices. But that's, you know, it's just such good fun. And it just made me laugh so much. And again, just reminiscing on all of this makes me smile so hard, because it was such a quality cut scene and production, that whole little story. That's just one story that I'm talking about here, you know, and that was in the first KDC. And of course we move into the second KDC, and their relationship developed further, and Godwin's sent to find we got a pheasant down there, look. And Godwin was sent to find Henry and Capon, because obviously they go missing with their adventures in Kuttenberg area and all the rest of it. And then of course his story opens up with Henry and with his family and where he comes from, the fact that he is a noble. And again, I could talk about stories in regards to KDC2, and you know, again, more to do with the priesthood and the Italians and one thing and another, but I'll leave that for another day. Needless to say, I just wanted to talk about Godwin himself and what a fantastic character he is in terms of KDC 1 and 2. And yeah, there's so much to discuss about him, but I just thought I'd start with an introduction to Godwin, because Godwin's quite a large character and quite an important character. But I thought for this first video, in terms of Godwin, we'll just start with the basics, where he comes in, his relationship to Henry, and how it's developed to start with. And I'll just say this: if you've never played KDC 1, no matter how difficult the combat is, no matter how much of a challenge you might find it to be, try to persevere if you ever do pick it up and try to play it, because the stories and content within that game are phenomenal. And it's what makes you know, the second game as well. You can play the second game without playing KDC 1, but it ain't the same. I don't think it can be the same, just because you get to witness Henry's destruction of his village and everything else. But let's stay on topic and let's stay talking about Godwin. You know, like I say, so what I'll do is, I think actually, yes, I'll leave it here in terms of Godwin. I think that's a good introduction. And we'll talk about Godwin more, because it's just, again, such a fantastic, well-developed character and story arc, storyline, character arc, so on and so forth. So let's start there with that, and how Henry met them. And later on, I'll talk more about Godwin. I just think this makes a nice short video. I've done some previous stuff today, walking around, and I just thought I'd talk about Godwin really as quickly as I could for an introduction to what's to come later, because there's too much about this guy to sum him up and rush this conversation. But yeah, if you've never played KDC 1, go and check out the quest with Henry and Godwin. I wish I could, I should have wrote down the name of the quest, but I'll put it in the description, guys and girls, because I wasn't expecting to do this today, so it's sort of been done on a whim, you know, this particular walk and talk. But I'll stick the details down in the chat box for you, description box, all right, when I post this video. But yeah, that's, you know, again, Godwin's a fantastic character, guys and girls. And like I say, if you've never played KDC, or you've never played KDC 1, I tell you, buying the game just for that one experience, that one quest is worth it. Honestly, it is that good. Well, it was for me. It may not resonate with you, but I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a brilliant piece of work and a brilliant piece of construction, gameplay construction. But anyway, there you go. I'll leave it there. I'm Nesbit, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.